The reality of what is being done tonight cannot be left unsaid. Tonight, we invite into our community a place of immense suffering and death. We need to talk about the forgotten ones that we don't talk about and the place that no one really goes.
I know that as a meat eater now, I want to be able to eat meat that I know is raised well and is contributing to our community.
A slaughterhouse would be a huge step backwards in the wrong direction for community, directly making the world a more violent and cruel place.
You will be told by the industry that this slaughterhouse is somewhat different. There is no humane way to kill an animal that wants to live. They have to be cut, shocked, gassed, or hit by a bolt for their bodies to be useful. Would you put down your dog this way? Why not? What's the difference?
And they're talking about all the blood and the this and the that. All that don't happen, okay? When they bleed the animal out, it's collected in barrels.
And I started eating meat, and I did slaughter meat. I slaughtered my own animals in Peace Corps. And I watched the farmers raise the animals. I learned a lot about animal husbandry. I learned a lot about humane slaughter.
I'd like to go over a few words. I've heard the word humane be used for the meat quite a few times, and the definition of humane is kind of benevolent, and there's no kind of benevolent way to kill someone who doesn't want to die.
What lies ahead after building a facility whose sole purpose is to kill, disembowel, skin, and dismember very large corpses?
There's not anybody that we hang out with or that I hang out with or when we go out to eat with the people that invite us in that don't have meat spread out all over the place.
There are about 1,500 full-time core members of the Krishna community here, and about 2,500 to 3,500 others, primarily Indians who have migrated here, who consider the Krishna temple their place of worship. I don't want to sound contentious here, but I'm authorized to say on their behalf that there will be 4,000 very disappointed constituents, your constituents in Alachua County, if this measure goes through.
The proposed slaughterhouse would be an unnecessary source of animal cruelty. We all have a responsibility to treat animals with respect and kindness, and building a facility that would cause undue harm and suffering to these creatures is unacceptable.
We must consider ethical implications of supporting an industry that engages in cruel and inhumane practices.
Not only does this cause immense suffering for the animals, but also has negative psychological effects on workers who are often subjected to disturbing and violent conditions.
Well, animals raised for food have the same emotions and capacity for pain as our beloved pets.
Since the animals are the ones being slaughtered, it is important that they are part of the conversation. I think many of us humans forget that we are animals too. Even though we don't speak the same language, there are obvious emotions that we understand. If a dog yelps out in pain, you feel that and you want to help them. When they lean into you or enjoy a head scratch, you sense their love. That doesn't change for a farmed animal. We aren't born with this disconnect. We are taught to care for one species and ignore or deny the emotions of another.
I resent the fact you use little clip art to represent the animals that are going to shed the blood. I do. Put real pictures up there.
Thank you, ma'am.
These gentle creatures suffer and struggle to live through a process of industrialized murder. They feel fear and pain. Their deaths are violent, and they know it is coming. In such a place like that, it is impossible not to. Can we really decide that this should be done here without witnessing what will be happening day in and day out to thousands upon thousands of vulnerable, sentient creatures? I challenge every one of you who would bring this death upon others. Watch what you are doing, not just a sterile demonstration. Watch the documentary Dominion, and you will see. It's just undercover footage of standard industry practices.
I've witnessed a cow shed tears as she screamed for her family. I've seen footage of moms chasing after their babies being hauled away. Humans are separating mother and child, friends and family. When they are being slaughtered, they are not only killed in horrendous ways, but they die with fear in their bodies.
Former cattle rancher turned animal advocate Howard Lineman said something that really always stuck with me. If you visit the killing floor of a slaughterhouse, it will brand your soul for life.
During the time I was there in the 1970s, if we were having our PE class on the top field, believe it was Sunnyland Meat Processing Facility was located right behind the school, and I could hear the screams of animals that were going into that facility. And for that reason, most of my high school years, I was a vegetarian.
They all can suffer. Maybe some of you have visited one of our local farm sanctuaries and met the individual animals. If so, I'm sure you noticed how similar they are to your pet animals. So please ask yourselves, if when your pet needs to be put down, would you be okay with it being done at a slaughterhouse? And if not, what's that tell us about slaughterhouses?
The animals of the world exist for their own reasons. They were not made for humans any more than black people were made for white or women were created for men. By Alice Walker.
Residents have already pointed out that this slaughterhouse would cause pollution, trauma to the workers forced to kill animals, and most of all would cause the unnecessary death and suffering of the sentient cows that would be brutally killed there.
And this is cruel. It's not food, it's violence, and it's not meant for our bodies.
How many times have we heard in the movies when somebody's about to get killed, oh, you don't have to do this. You don't.
Right now I'm supporting this motion, but my promise is that I am going to go to the UF meat processing facility. I am going to take that tour. I'm going to watch every step of that process. Because I feel like if I am going to say yes to this, I have to understand every little bit of what that entails to my soul and what it might entail to somebody else's soul. And I don't know what my next step will be after that. I invite you all to continue to talk to me about it. As Ken said, there are many off-ramps here. And, you know, and as Commissioner Chestnut said, he didn't want to be a killer of something without all the facts. Well, I'm taking that literally. I don't want to be a killer of something without all the facts.
It doesn't have to be this way. Sanctuaries of rescued farm animals thrive in our community. Please join us in a future where death isn't a way of life. This place of suffering and death is not in the kind spirit of the people who live here. We can do so much better. I beg you to reconsider.
Thank you. No clapping. I've asked you. If you do it again, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to leave. Thank you.